Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can get your first rental property, even if you're starting off with $10,000 or less. So if you've been looking for a way to get started, unique strategies to get your first deal, even if you're started off with limited income, limited capital, you do need a little bit of credit, but there are ways to invest without credit as well. Stick around to the end because I'm going to break down some cool strategies for you guys and talk to you about a little bit about where the market is and how you can advance, accelerate yourself. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to one of my free real estate trainings. It'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer. Let me just reset my audio here. And guys, if you're interested in any of our programs, I'm dropping a new webinar training. I just put this together last week. So it's brand new. Nobody's even seen it yet, realistically. Only people that are really close to me, maybe 2 or 3 people have seen it. If you want to get access to this webinar training, kind of like pre-access, just DM me webinar and I'll send you that free training. It's going to show you my top strategies, my go-to strategies for buy and hold real estate in the affordable housing space. So how you can get anywhere from really closer to like $700 to $1,000 a month in cash flow off of a deal. Let me give me a second on the YouTube. I'm going to keep flowing on the Instagram. Just reach out and DM me Bootstagram on the ground, and me and my team will get you tapped into that as well. We'll find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for you. And then we have the real estate ride along tour. The hoodies for the real estate ride along just came in. I have 20 hoodies. We have maybe 1 or 2 seats left on the bus because a couple people are going to bring like the spouse, then the spouse isn't coming. So there's a couple of spots left. If you click the links in description on the YouTube channel, you can grab a ride along ticket. That's going down in 10 days, about 10 days, a little over that. August 31st, which is Saturday. You're going to spend the day with me in Philly touring properties. So if you want to do that and get that hands-on experience, definitely tap into that. This is one of our cheapest mentorship program options, and you'll get some 24/7 cash flow gear. You'll spend a day with me. So reach out about that. And we have the Inner Circle program, of course, if you just want to tap into the course content. Guys on Instagram, let me know if my content is coming through clear. Mike Morgan, I see you. If you, I would love to have you shoot that ride along too, if you're available. Saturday, August 31st. You kind of know the process. So guys, let's get into this. Let's get into the mindset. I want to keep this one tight. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section, and we'll just kind of answer them as we flow through this thing. Let's get into the mindset. The mindset is when in doubt, look outside of the box. So if you're starting off as a new real estate investor and you're like, hey, I want to get my first deal, but I don't have tons of cash. I'm starting with like less than 10K. What should I be thinking about? Well, you're not going to want to go the conventional route to get your first deal. My first deal, I was starting off what I would call like broke. I mean, I was making probably less than $30,000 a year, maybe far less than that. And even when I got my first property, I think the prior year I only made like $25,000. So I didn't make a ton of money. So I was just looking for ways to get started, to get tapped into the game. I saved a couple of commission checks, and my first deal, I got it for $7,000 by using some of the strategies that I'm going to teach you guys today. So 7K, and I was into my first deal. So you can definitely make this happen with some off the beaten path strategies. There are actually more strategies available to us today than I even knew about when I was getting started. So if you just watch this and take action on what I teach you just today, you could do a lot better than me and probably go out and get your first multifamily deal really before the year's out, if that's what you want to do. But the mindset is to look outside of the box. A lot of us get trapped in the conventional strategy, or we compare ourselves to what we're seeing other people doing. So, oh, well, so-and-so's got $50,000 and he's doing flips, or he's doing buy and holds, or they're getting into the BRRRR strategy. I don't have that, or they have perfect credit score. My credit is compromised. If you are in a position where you don't have the credit, you don't have tons of capital, You just need a unique strategy. You need creative financing, or you need some of the things that we're going to talk about today as we get into this to get into your first deal. This whole game is about just getting one deal under your belt. That's really all it's about. Getting one deal under your belt, getting a little bit of cash flow coming in. Even $500 a month will change your mentality. Once you change your mentality, you're pretty much off to the races at that point. You change your mindset, you keep cranking, you keep digging into the game, and before you know it, you're doing deal number 2. Now you're over 1,000 a month. Then deal number 3 might be $1,000 deal because you're learning better strategies that cash flow more. Or you're getting a multi. Now you're at 2,000. Then you're at 3,000. And before you know it, I mean, once you get up to 5,000, realistically, because of the tax sensitivity of the money that you get through buying whole real estate, 5,000 a month in cash flow is the equivalent to really making like $10,000 a month. It's the equivalent to that. Guys on IG, let me know if my sound's coming through clear. Somebody drop me a comment in the IG. Just let me know my sound's coming through clear. Sometimes it gets muffled. But that's the equivalent of making like 10,000 a month, like 120,000 a year. Just a 5K of cash flow. So just stay locked into that. The creative financing will get you there. Creative financing, if you don't know, I saw somebody drop that on the IG. Creative financing is where you leverage the existing debt that's already on the property. So think about somebody who's in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, or just a burnout landlord. Somebody who's like, they got a property, but they don't really want to fix it up. They don't want to manage it. They're out of state and they're getting older. Their kids don't want to take over the real estate. There's so many people that age into this position. And you come along, you're a young, hungry real estate investor or a new real estate investor who's hungry. And you're like, look, I'll take it over. Let me put a lease on this property. What's the mortgage on it? Because they got it so long ago and they barely owe anything, the mortgage might be like $600 a month. And you're like, well, I could rent this property for $1,300 a month. Let me give you $800, $850 a month on a lease. You don't have to manage anymore. I'll take care of it. I'll put a couple dollars into it. And now I have the option to buy it later, maybe 3 years from now. That's a lease purchase option strategy. So the burnout landlord's like, cool, I don't have to manage it and I'll get a little bit of cash flow. I don't need all the cash flow that I would get if I managed it. I'll just take $250 a month. Cool. And you deal with the headache? Great. So now you've structured a creative financing deal that's allowing you to take over a property, to control it. It's called control without ownership. That is what creative financing is all about. So now you control the property with a lease option, and then you can structure that deal to purchase it at a future date after you add value, improve the equity, the ARV. You might even just go refinance the old seller or owner out of the deal and then keep it. And there are people that are doing these types of deals all across the country. They're not even using cash or credit. There are people that fall in love with just creative financing to the point where they don't even want to do the burst strategy or any of these other strategies. That is in my course. You said I read that in your course. Yes, that is in my course. We have a 3-day breakout session that I did on creative financing 101 parts 1, 2, and 3 that break down the 6 core creative financing strategies. That's one of them. I see Zion Curry just tapped in. He tapped into some of this stuff, creative financing, and he's actually he's our youngest mentee. He's actually getting his first multifamily. We're probably going to bring him on the. We're just going to bring him on the platform and kind of break this stuff down for him, and show you guys kind of the success that he's gotten over the years. Okay, so yeah, Zion, I see you tapped in. I wanna bring you on. I would have brought you on already, but I've been sick. I've been battling COVID over the last week, so that stuff happens. But I'm back in the flow. But that's the mindset: is think outside of the box. Don't think in the box. The only reason that you should be focused on some of your obstacles. How we doing, Vanessa? The only reason you should be focused on some of your obstacles is so that you know how to go around them. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let me leave the YouTube and come back in. I don't know why the YouTube's going crazy. into this YouTube channel. How are we doing on YouTube? Let me know there we go. I think the audio is back on the YouTube. I don't know why it faded out, but they don't want this information to get out. Let's get into some of this info. Guys, drop your questions in the chat section. Let's get into it. So we have down payment assistance programs. Let me spin you guys around on the IG so you guys can tap in a little bit. So we have some of these down payment assistance programs. Here, this is the first thing you want to focus on as a new real estate investor. You want to start focusing on down payment assistance. How can you get deals and get government money? And the government assistance, it comes in a few different ways. Some of it is forgivable money, where you just get the money. It's called a grant. Let me just scroll down and get into it. Some of it is grant money. Some of it is non-forgivable, and that's really what you would want to focus yourself on. The first style is a grant. That's down payment assistance grants, and they're just that. Grants go towards qualifying borrowers' down payments. So if you try to buy a deal, your typical down payment could be $15,000, $20,000. Kamala Harris, which I won't spend too much time on this, but she's proposing a $25,000 down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers and first-gen home buyers. So that would be just like $25,000 that goes directly towards your closing costs. For my first deal, because I did it in conjunction with an FHA loan, I only had to come to the table with like really $10,000, but I did another strategy that I'm going to teach you guys, and that allowed me to come to the table with like $7,000 or less, really a little bit less. It's like $6,500. But this could cover everything. $25,000, you could get a multifamily property like that if you did it in conjunction with other first-time home buyer strategies like 5% down, 10% down, 3.5% down. You don't have to put a lot of money down on your first deal, especially if you're going to do a multifamily and owner occupy one of the units. Now, a lot of these down payment assistance programs, they'll only work if you're doing like a duplex or less. So I do have a video on the YouTube channel that focuses on all of the top 5, what I call down payment assistance programs that are out there, and the different companies that are out there that do this. Go to the YouTube channel, type in down payment assistance. The YouTube channel for those on the IG is Brian Loves Cash Flow. If you go to YouTube and type in Brian Loves Cash Flow, you get straight to the channel. You can even go there now because we're on here live on YouTube, and the flow is just a little bit cleaner. But you can watch that video and you can tap in. But that stuff will stop at typically like a duplex. It's more for a owner-occupied strategy. So they don't want to gear it towards investors because we take advantage of everything. If you give us anything, we're going to take advantage of it and try to crank it. So the FHA loan alone, allows you to do like a 3 or 4 unit building and live in one unit, rent out the others. So you can use that 3.5% down FHA loan if you've never bought a property before, or if you don't own a property that you're living in that has a active FHA loan on it. So it doesn't even have to be a first time purchase. Like I really purchased hundreds of properties and still ended up using an FHA loan after that, after having over 100 rental properties. So it's not about not having done a deal before necessarily, but you can use FHA for triplexes, quadplexes. When you're getting into down payment assistance programs, they typically will cap you on a duplex, but you can do a lot of damage with a duplex. In my opinion, you can do a ton of damage because some duplexes cash flow more than triplexes, because the triplex has that extra kitchen, living room, maybe dining room, and you get paid by the bed as a buy and hold investor. So that duplex, by not having that third kitchen, living room, dining room, bathroom, that's not really getting more cash flow. That can have a bigger bed count profile in a duplex versus a triplex in some instances. For instance, a duplex could be 4 beds, 2 baths over 4 beds, 2 baths, whereas the triplex would be maybe 2 beds, 1 bath over 1 bed, 1 bath over 1 bed, 1 bath. because the kitchen profile and the living room profile. So you could have way more cash flow coming in from your multi. Even if you had a 4-bed unit you were living in a duplex, you could live in one bedroom, rent out the others, live in a master suite, rent out the other in your own unit, and still cash flow. So you'll have a lot of this with your down payment assistance. But the first thing you're dealing with are grants. Grants are forgivable. You don't have to pay the money back. The next type you want to focus on, because you'll see this a lot, is number 3. And guys, all of these links, all of these resources we're going through, these links are in the description of the YouTube video. So you can always click there and go through these articles later and do your own research. Number 3 is like the forgivable second mortgage. So this is how a lot of your down payment assistance programs will actually show up. They show up as second mortgages, and they're 0% interest. And some are forgivable and some are not forgivable. So you have to do that type level of research. The forgivable ones will only be forgivable if you live in the property or keep the property for a certain period of time. So you would have to live there as a, single unit, single family property. Or if it was a duplex, you would just have to not sell it for maybe, like, most of the ones I've seen, 5 years. Some go out to like 15 years. I haven't seen many of the forgivable ones go beyond 15 years. If it goes beyond 15, it's typically not forgivable. Most people that I know, especially today, they don't own properties that long. They trade them, especially if they're like owner occupied. You'll typically, they'll appreciate in value. They could double in value in 10 years. You'll sell them, cash them out, get another one. And then they have ones called deferred payment mortgages. And they're still second mortgages. There's 0 interest. And what it'll do is, like, they'll give you $25,000 of down payment assistance, but you'll have to pay that back whenever you sell the house. So it'll sit as a lien against the asset. So if you ever tried to refinance your debt or do anything with the property, you would have to pay that money back. That's also not bad, though, because your property could appreciate in value, 100, 150,000. So even if you had to pay back that money, you might refinance your loan or get a home equity line of credit, and that might be like chump change, or it might just come out of your refinance proceeds later. So it's still not something that would stop me. I would take the money in almost any of these scenarios, but the best way to take the money is through a grant. Take it through a grant because it's forgivable, or get some of these forgivable down payment assistance loans, which say, like, if you live in it for 5 years, it's forgivable, and then just keep it for 5 years, live in it. Or if you do it on a multi-family, just don't sell the property. Don't sell the property for at least 5 years, and then it goes away. 0% interest, so you're not accruing any interest on these things. And there's not really like a big penalty they're going to hit you with. Even on the ones that are deferred payment, it's just going to sit as a lien on the property. So do your research. These things are popping up everywhere. I saw, there's this Kamala Harris, and then we have her one was built off of a program they just dropped in Detroit, which is also 25,000. So the Detroit did that. I'm gonna pop back in on the YouTube. Keep doing your research at the state level to make sure that you can, get your hands on that information. Guys, let me know on the YouTube. Somebody drop me in the comments if you guys can hear my audio through the YouTube. Not sure why the audio is going crazy today, but that can kind of get you guys tapped in there. Let me see what else we have. I wanted to walk you guys through the seller's assist strategy so that you guys can see how this stuff works. So the seller's assist, guys, let me know on the YouTube if you guys can hear me. Just drop me something in the chat section. If you go through a seller's assist, it's kind of hard to see this on the IG. I'm trying to zoom you guys in. But a seller's assist, pretty much what that's going to do is it's going to give you a credit. You guys almost can't see it in the IG. You would have to tap into the YouTube to be able to see it. But it's going to give you a credit towards your closing costs. So you can actually structure this custom with the seller. So say a seller's trying to sell a property to you for okay, cool. Say a seller's trying to sell a property to you for $100,000, just 100K clean. And you're like, man, I want to bring less money to the table, as little as possible. I'm going to negotiate a seller's assist with the seller. So I'm going to say, look, and I know you only want 100,000 for this. I'm going to offer you 103,000 or 106,000, let's say. So I'm going to give you $106,000. So they're like, why are you doing that? But I want a 6% seller's assist. So that's 6% of the 106, roughly 6,000. So what I over offered them is going to come off the top. So I'm going to get a credit at the closing table for 6,000 from the seller against my closing costs. I've actually done this, believe it or not, with a hard money loan. A lot of people ask that, can you do this with hard money? Because they know we have 100% hard money lenders. Guys, if you're getting value from any of this stuff, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, and DM me if you're interested in that webinar training. The webinar training is crazy, is the feedback I've been getting. DM me webinar. If you're interested in boots on the ground, DM me boots on the ground. If you're interested in the ride along, DM me ride along. We only have 1 or 2 tickets left. And then click the links in the description. You can book a call with me or my team. But DM me if you're on IG. So yeah, I'm not sure. So I was with a hard money lender, right? So I have them giving 100% leverage on a deal. I'm getting 100% leverage on a deal. So I go to them and I'm like, cool, give me 100% of the money. What's the closing cost going to be? They're like, all right, we'll give you 100%. The closing is going to be like 5K. So then I go to the seller and I structure a seller's assist for 6% with the seller. So they credit me almost the whole 5K. So when I get to the closing table, the hard money lender's like, yo, they're like, yo, what's going on? Because it looks like you're not putting no money into this deal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I structured a seller's assist. And they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, why? Because we like to see people have skin in the game. And I'm like, okay, but I don't. And I structured the deal, fund the deal. Like, this is at the closing table. They're like calling the title company because I got so outside of the box on them. They couldn't even fathom that somebody could structure this way. Like, they had never seen it before. They were like, you can't do this again. We'll do it this time. But I acquired this property with no money, like absolutely no money out of pocket. Actually, this was a deal, believe it or not, I got paid to buy because it was already no money. But then the seller wanted to stay in the property an extra 2 weeks after the closing because they were in the process of like moving. They're like, I need another 2 weeks. I said, cool. Well, you got to pay me like $1,000 of like rent money because the property will rent for $2,000, a month. So give me half of that for the 15 days. So they came with 1,000, and I got the money from the seller's assist and 100% leverage. So I actually got paid like $500 to acquire this property, to buy this property. Then I renovated it, refinanced out maybe 60,000 on the deal. So I actually got paid the entire way through the property, and then kept it, rented it out, cash flowed it. But this is the type of stuff, like, when people say you can't do deals without money, without cash, you can. But you have to be crafty. You have to have knowledge. You have to know how to leverage these systems. So the seller's assist, very powerful. I also use the seller's assist on my FHA house hack, where I got my first multifamily property. And I was only putting down 3.5%. I got a 3% seller's assist. That allowed me to come to the table with just 7,000 to get my first multifamily deal. So you can do deals, just like the title of this video, how to do deals with 10K or less. You can absolutely do this. But you need knowledge. I always tell you guys, there's 2 things in real estate: money and knowledge. The less you have of one, the more you need of the other. And I'm not just saying that, like, this is actually how it is. So for those who are in the know, they're out structuring deals aggressively and making this stuff happen. And for other people, they're just kind of sitting on the sidelines, staying stuck. So that's definitely something you could do, is that seller's assist. I threw in for those on the YouTube, and I'll spin you IGers around. I threw in a FHA loan calculator link in the description of the video. Definitely tap into that. That's a cool tool if you're looking to do your first deal. You're thinking about house hacking a multifamily property, doing an FHA house hack. You can play around with that loan calculator on your purchase price, on your down payment, on your interest rate, kind of all of these different things, and just see what your payment will be. Always use tools. There's a lot of free tools out there. I found this one and I thought it was good. And then just a projection on where rates are at right now. They're in like the 6.5% range. The market, this is off like cbsnews.com. Most of the economists, analysts think rates are going to end this year within like the 6.25 range, somewhere between 6 to 6.25, which means if you're doing things like interest rate buy downs, you can buy yourself down into the fives. So this is an incredible time to get into the game and get a lot of cash flow. If you don't know how to get started, just DM me webinar or text me, email me, tap into my webinar training. That'll teach you how to get started. Cost you nothing. It's an investment of time, but that webinar is like 30 minutes. So I made it action packed so you can power through it. That's weird. So you can power through it in about, a lunch break, 30 minutes, a car ride, like whatever. You can power through that training and get all the information you need to start to scale your way out of the 9 to 5. Nobody should be locked in their 9 to 5 as the only way of making money. It's a really dangerous mission right now, especially with where technology is, artificial intelligence, robotics. It's more dangerous now than ever to only have your 9 to 5 as your sole source of income. You will be replaced. You will be challenged over the next 10 years, really, maybe even 5 years, depending on what industry you're in. Definitely, there's a lot of truck drivers and stuff like that will be replaced in the next 2 years. Like, it's going to happen in the blink of an eye. So make sure you're building passive income on the side, doing something. To me, real estate's the safest way to do it. From my experience, it's one of the most fun ways to do it too. You get to help others rebuild communities while you're helping yourself and your family. So it's definitely a good way to do it. I'm going to shift over to Q&A. I want to keep this one short, and we'll see how many questions you guys have, and then we'll put a bow on this thing. But guys, if you gotten value already, before we even get into the Q&A, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe. Definitely shoot me a DM if you're interested in the real estate ride along tour before those tickets run out. If you're interested in the Boots on the Ground program, we only have like, I think, one spot open on the Boots on the Ground. Boots on the Ground has been really filling up. You guys know I'm in the process of launching Baltimore, and we're getting eerily close to that. But we have the Boots on the Ground program. We just put over the weekend another 2 deals under contract there in the Boots on the Ground program. We might have put another one under contract today as well. So it just seems like, to me, every month we're putting about 8 properties a month under contract, which is, what's that, like 196, I mean, 96 property pace, pretty much 100 property per year pace, is what we're doing in the Boots on the Ground program. So we're just doing like 100 deals a year in the Boots on the Ground program. If you want to be a part of that and get your hands on that action, just reach out and DM me Boots on the Ground, and we'll get you guys dialed in there. And you can always tap into our Inner Circle program as well, network with the group. We have some incredible people within our our mentorship programs. So definitely reach out about that. Vanessa says, I'm always hearing you can go to the table without paying closing costs. So this is how it's done. That is how it's done. I just gave you guys the sauce. And this is a sauce that even like national lenders had never even experienced. Like, they got their wig peeled back at the closing table. It was kind of funny. I didn't think they would even care. But they're like, no, we want skin in the game. We want this. And I'm like, that sounds good. But if I know how to get the money from the seller, I'm going to get the money from the seller. I'm going to structure it however I got to structure it.
And if it's a good deal, it's a good deal. If it's not, it's not. They ultimately funded it because they wanted to make money. And lenders will do that for their own inherent greed at the end of the day. They want to make money. They only make money when they lend. So, it kind of is what it is. But that's how you do it. So definitely watch this back. Like that was maybe too much sauce, but it's good sauce. And it's not the only way to come to the table without capital. So you can definitely do it. You just have to have a brain with this thing. You have to have the knowledge, a little bit of experience, and you have to think outside of the box to the point where you don't even see the box. There's thinking outside of the box, and then there's not even seeing the box, almost as if it doesn't exist. You want to get to that second level where it almost doesn't exist to you, and you're just like, forget about that box. Like I'm gonna go way out and just free think it, and try to restructure, and you'll get to where you want to go. Can you please provide a few hard money lenders who finance with less than 20% down? I could provide a lot. I'm not going to throw them all out here because I try to keep them close to the chest. I try to keep them really close to the chest for our boots on the ground members. But a good lender who is what I call a 90-10 lender is ABL, asset-based lending. I like the owner of that company, Kyle. One of the owners, Kyle, because there's three owners, but I usually talk to Kyle. He's really cool. They're a good lender. They're national. I would highly recommend ABL. I really believe in their mission. Some of these lenders, which you guys will learn, is some of them are actual investors. Some of these guys have really done deals, and that's kind of important when you're dealing with a lender, especially when you go to scale, or when you want to do a ground up deal, or when you want to do something different. Really important to kind of do that. Work with those types of people, because when you start working with lenders who haven't done deals, they're not investors, they act different, they behave differently, they become sometimey, they don't understand the market, they panic, they do all types of things that investors don't do. So I would recommend ABL. Don't don't go to them and try to do the freaking like the no money down strategy that sellers assist, because they'll probably tell you the same thing that some of these lenders have told me. Like they really don't like that stuff, and they might not fund that stuff, right? But this was a deal. Like I said, this deal was so profitable that not only did I get the 100% leverage with the seller's assist, I refinanced out 60K after the deal was done. I mean, this thing was a cash cow. I got the property for $70,000. The ARV was 350,000, and I put 100K into it. So I'm all in at 160 on a property that's worth 350. So at that point, I'm like, yo, just fund the deal. Like I'm bringing you a layup. And at this time, it was like my 20th rehab or like my 30th rehab. So it's like, yo, I'm bringing you a layup. We've done business before. Just fund it. So I thought that was fine. But it's not something that I even look to do anymore, because I'm not working with those capital constraints. It's not important to me. And it's not free money. Like when you do a seller's assist, one thing I will say about that, it's not free money. It's increasing the loan amount by that seller's credit. So it is stressing the deal a little bit more, but it depends on the deal. I'm recently over COVID, so I'm like almost gonna lose my voice. We're getting too late in the day. Aaron Wright, Brian, what is the best way to get funding for renovations only? Still a construction lender, a hard money lender. Going to them with a deal. You might already own the property. Hey, I just need some money to fix it up. That's a great way, because if you go to them with that, they're just going to give you the bread to fix up the property. Is the bottom line. Like they might even look at your property if you own it cash already and just say, you don't have to make any cash contribution, anything. We're just going to write a loan and secure it with the property. So that's a good way to step in. If you own the property cash as well, you could go to a hard money lender. Let's say you were going to flip a deal and you own the property cash already. You could go to a hard money lender with that deal and say, all right, well, you're a 90-10 lender, right? Yeah, cool. So cash me out of this deal. And they could cash you out of it at an equivalent rate to whatever that 90% leverage would be. So you might go to them with a cash deal. Not only are they going to put a escrow account for the rehab, but they might cash you out 40, 50,000 on the deal. So it could create liquidity. That's important because that could be 40, 50,000 for you to take and go acquire another property or pour into a multi. And you want to focus on liquidity creation right now because the market is tight. It's not tightening. I don't want to say that, but interest rates are falling. As rates fall, prices will go up. A lot of people don't believe that. Or a lot of people are in markets like you might be in California, you might be in Florida, you might be in Miami, and you're like, the prices are going down in Miami. Oh, great. They've been overheated. They're going down in California, or they're going down on the $2 million house in San Diego. Of course they are. Of course they are. Because it's $2 million and interest rates went to 7%, 8%. Of course the prices are going to drop there. That doesn't mean in most markets across the country that prices are going to fall as interest rates fall. That's not what happens as interest rates fall. As rates fall, prices go up for a variety of reasons that I won't even get into. But you will have people who will try to tell you otherwise, but it's more personal to their local market as to why they think that versus reality, which is this will happen. So you want to have ways to create liquidity and to do more deals with less capital during times where the market is rapidly changing so that you can acquire as much value as possible before prices increase. Because the benefits to doing that are astronomical. If you could buy extra 5 properties before prices double, not saying they're going to double in a year or two, but if they did, you would wish you had bought an extra 5 properties that could also have doubled in value versus not have those 5. It'd be just an opportunity cost loss. So keep that in mind. But the best way to get funding for renovations only, definitely a construction loan, a hard money loan. Question through the IG from Kara. How do you determine the ARV, the after repair value? I usually use Redfin or you could use Zillow, you could use Redfin. You can use some of these publicly available websites to pull your comps and see what properties are selling that are similar to the property that you're interested in. I have a process. I have a ton of videos on the YouTube channel about live sessions like this that we did. We've been doing this every week for like 2 years now. So there's almost 100 live sessions on the YouTube channel. Brian Loves Cash Flow on YouTube. It's almost 100 sessions. But if you dig through some of them, they'll be like how to think like an appraiser, how to pull your comps, we have sessions where we've gone straight on to Redfin and done comps for you. So you can see my exact process. I would recommend tapping into that and just seeing how we do it, because I've dealt with the appraisers. I've dealt with almost 1,000 appraisals at this point. I know how these guys think. I know how to pull comps and think about ARV. So it's really experiential to me at this point, but there is a method to the madness. There is a system and a process to it. So I would just learn the process and you'll learn how to pull your ARVs like a pro. And last thing I'll say on ARVs, they're very important. You really can't invest comfortably until you understand value and how to determine value, how to pull your comps, how to run your numbers, how appraisers think. Because the lender is lending you based upon the perceived value of the deal, based upon the ARV. The lender will give you 65% of the ARV. So if you don't know the ARV, how do you know what the 65% is? How do you know how to back into the deal? How do you know if it's safe? How do you know if there's enough money for a rehab? There's a lot to this game. So it really is something that you will either tap into and get the knowledge, or you will pay the ignorance tax. The ignorance tax is when you go out and you try to figure it out on your own and you get beat over the head by a scam contractor or a rehab project you wish you didn't take on because it costs more than you anticipated, or a rogue lender or a scammy wholesaler who sells you a deal telling you that, oh, it's worth 400,000, it's really worth 250, and you didn't know. Like you can really get taken advantage of really badly in this game. It's one of the reasons why I became a mentor, a real estate coach, is because I got slapped around in this game. And I consider myself a smart guy. Went to some good schools, consider myself a smart guy, and I got knocked around in this game. So I was like, damn, if I could get smacked around in this game, I bet people can get absolutely just destroyed in this game. So I wanted to kind of be like almost like a Batman in this game, like to come in and really fight against some of these things and just give people the real knowledge, which is why we have over 100 of these lives of just pure knowledge, just pure game and insider secrets and things that you're not really going to hear from anybody else. You're just not, because they're not really trying to tell you anything. They just want you to buy their course. You don't have to buy my course. Buying my course doesn't help me, it helps you. Like if you tap into our mentorship program, the boots on the ground program, the real estate ride along tour, it's going to help you more than me. Like it's going to help you. So all this stuff is there for you to take advantage of so you don't get burned. If you go out in the school of hard knocks, whatever price tag is on any of my mentorships right now, you could get ripped for it in a week by a contractor. Whatever price tags on any mentorship program, you could get ripped for that amount of money within a day to a week by any contractor in this game if they woke up and felt like it. It's nothing. The cost of millions of dollars worth of stakes that you get and the support you get is nothing. It's not really for me. It's for you guys. But that's definitely a big motivation. It's just not only having been burned myself, but then seeing other people get burned. It's like, damn, you need some good resources out here. Roger says, I'm from Jersey, but want to get started in Philly. That's smart. I was born in Jersey, New Brunswick, actually. A lot of people don't know that. But grew up in Philly. I have 15K cash. Do I have any options to get started? Absolutely. You definitely have options to get started. I would reach out and book a call, actually, because you're at a sweet spot where you actually, it's like I said, the two things in real estate, knowledge and money. You actually have some money. You have about as much money as I had getting started, but I had no knowledge. Now, if I tapped you into the right knowledge with that amount of money, you could start getting traction. You can actually start getting traction, get a deal or two under your belt, start building a portfolio. The beautiful thing about having 15K is it's just 15K, which, think about it. You have 15K. If I show you how to get one property with that 15K, that makes you 500 a month, that's 6,000 a year. That's already like a 40% return on your 15K. Even if we took the whole 15 and invested it. If I show you how to invest 10 of the 15 to get 500 a month, that's going to be a dramatic life change at that point. Because you're like, damn, it took me a long time to stack up 15 G's. This guy showed me how to get an extra 600 a month. I just did a deal for my wife's aunt. Did the whole deal. She's making like 700 a month off of it for who knows how long. And maybe it'll go higher. Maybe I did that deal for you. Now you're getting 700 a month. It becomes life-changing money. That's the beautiful part about being at that point of the journey, is when you tap into knowledge and you get success, it just means a lot more. Like for me, it's like extra 700. It's like, cool. Throw that in the bucket with other properties. Great. Like it's phenomenal, but it doesn't have the same excitement. There's nothing like the first beer. Like you can't get that taste back. But to get that deal flowing when you're starting off at that level, to get that success, it's like your whole world is just transformed. It's a complete mindset warp where you're like, damn, I hustled so hard for this and I value this 15K so much. Now I have 700 a month in cash flow and I know how to do it again. And then that 15K, it took you a long time to save. It don't take you that long to save it anymore. Because once you get the second property, now you're up to 1,400. 1,400 times 12 is over 15K. So now every year, just by waking up and going to sleep, not doing really much, you could stack up another 15K. That starts to put it in perspective. The money is not worth more than the knowledge, and it never will be. No, I'm not. Think about it, guys. The knowledge is worth so much that I had so much knowledge, I didn't need any money. And I was dealing with lenders and everything and doing like real active deals. But I had so much knowledge that I was like, the seller will bring the closing costs and the lender will bring the capital. I'm bringing the knowledge and the contractors, and the lender was funding the rehab. I was just putting the contractors in place, just putting the play together. Just the knowledge to put the play together was worth so much that you're able to produce value. So your whole focus should be on getting to the knowledge. That's why the first thing to invest in is not a house, is you. It's your knowledge. The reason to do that is because the knowledge can never leave. Even if you did a bad deal on your first deal, let's say you had no knowledge, you go out, and this is the mindset of most people. I'm going to take my 15K, I'm going to put it into a deal. Why would I put that into my education when I could get a deal with it? Because if the deal goes bad, what do you have? You still have no knowledge. You only have knowledge of a deal going wrong, which is only so much knowledge. It's only knowledge of how that deal went wrong. And you're talking to somebody who's done over, I keep saying over 300 deals. I'm going to have to start saying over 400 deals soon. But somebody who's done over 300, 350 deals, it took me doing 100 deals to see like most of what goes wrong, like 100 of them. After 10, I was like, I think I got this. Then I hit 20. It's like, damn, I didn't see that one coming. Then I hit 50. It was like, whoa, didn't understand that. Never experienced that one. Better create a system for that. You only have one deal going wrong worth of experience. It's not worth much, to be honest. One deal's worth of losses is not worth much. It's not even worth the price of the course content, which has over 100 deals worth of mistakes. Investing in your education is going to give you knowledge to not even really need that 15K, but you still have it. So you're still going to be able to leverage it. And then when you get to the next level, you have knowledge of how to accelerate a lot faster. It's not just about my course either. It's about just kind of educating yourself, investing in you and your education in general. I still tap into courses. I tell people that all the time. I tap into courses every year on marketing, on different things every year. I invest in my own education on things. So I'm also not immune from this. It's part of growth. It's part of your journey. If you stop investing in yourself, then you won't grow. Other people who do invest in themselves, they will outgrow you. You'll get left behind, and that's the game. So hopefully that answers your question fully. But if I'm you, I would actually tap into my real estate ride along tour. It's our cheapest mentorship program. I would tap into that. I would reach out, probably DM me ride along, especially if you're in Jersey, because you can just hop right over the bridge into Philly, August 31st, spend a day with me, get limited course content, get your 24/7 cash flow hoodie, meet and network with other like-minded investors from across the country. I would say that would be the best use of, I mean, if you did that, that would be the best way to accelerate into Philly real estate, into a cheaper market. You would be foolish not to, but the choice is yours. You have to live with your own decisions and then go from there. But that's what I would do. Hell, if I had an opportunity at a ride along when I was just getting started, oh my God, especially for the price point that I do my ride alongs at and the value, oh my God. I mean, it's just like the biggest no-brainer. So guys, hope that helps. I don't see a ton of questions on the YouTube. If anybody has any more questions in the IG, you better drop them now. But yeah, that is what this game is. Think outside of the box. Keep focusing on some of these down payment assistance, seller's assist, just deal structuring, creative financing in general. How to structure deals to come to the table with less money. That's what you want to focus on. If you focus on that and on building yourself up first, investing in you and your education when it comes to real estate, you will make so much money in the future. Like, you don't need to worry about investing a few thousand into your education in a multi-trillion-dollar industry where a crumb in this game is multi-millions. A crumb. And nobody cares that you make it either. Some people get lost in that sauce where they're like squeezing tight to their money to a degree, thinking that the money's now going to flow somehow from that energy of squeezing your money. It doesn't flow like that. So you got to invest in you. You have to build you up. The more you invest in you and build you up, the easier this whole real estate game gets. But I would recommend just building your education. And a great way to build your education, reach out about my new webinar that's going to be dropping, because you're only going to get that education within that webinar training. I went to Philly. I shot it on site, in and out of properties, so that you guys can get the real feel for what I really do behind the scenes. So definitely reach out to me, DM me webinar. If you're interested in the ride along, like I said, DM ride along, DM boots on the ground if you want me to find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for you. And just stay locked in. For my inner circle people, we'll be rocking, meeting on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. on the private Zoom call. So that's offline, and we'll be doing a live on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific with the What's a Mortgage family. We're going to be reviewing the deal of the month. So the deal of the month that came through the Boots on the Ground program. So we'll show you guys how that works, kind of how the cash flow is there, and get you guys tapped in. One last question. Aaron Wright is going to take us home with this question. Hey, would you do a cash out refi on a property that you own free and clear to gain capital for the next deal? Absolutely. Absolutely, I would. But first, I would look into some of the HELOCs that are out there, especially you own this thing free and clear. You could probably get a home equity line of credit and then use that credit line as liquidity to get your next deal, or to use as the down pay with it in conjunction with the construction lender to get your next deal. So I would do that first, because with the HELOC, with the home equity line of credit, you don't owe anything unless you pull the money. Unless you pull the money out of the credit line and do something with it, you don't have any payment against it. Whereas with the refinance, once you refinance the debt, you're now paying. So that would be my best advice, is to do the HELOC first, explore that option first, and then you can explore the refinance. There's also ways where you could take that free and clear asset and just pledge it into as collateral against the construction loan to acquire and renovate another property, where you don't have to do any of the above. So that's 3 options: refi, HELOC, or just leverage the asset as collateral against a construction loan. So when they ask for 20% down, you just say, just put a note against this property. This property is worth $150. Just put a $40,000 note against it, and then I'll refinance you out of that on this next deal. So you can leverage the asset you have. So you weren't even thinking about this, but now you tapped into the knowledge. You can leverage the asset that you have to print other properties and just keep doing that and building more equity for yourself. So this one property, if you think outside of the box in the correct way, you could turn into 10 properties. This one property, you could actually make copies of it. This game is wild, man. This game is wild. Hope that helps, guys. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. See you guys on the next one. Appreciate it. Thanks for tapping in. Enjoy your night.